I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senator Ron Wyden highlighted differences between economic plans from Democrats and Republicans during Tuesday's Senate Finance Committee hearing. Wyden slammed the, quote, long history of Republican monetary hawks rooting for higher unemployment, flat wages, and cuts to basic programs that help millions of families. This hearing comes as 2022 has seen the highest inflation in 40 years. Listen in for more from the Oregon Democrat.
The Finance Committee welcomes Treasury Secretary Yellen for a hearing on the budget. This is an important opportunity to discuss big economic challenges. So that's where I'll begin. I'm coming off a string of town hall meetings across my home state of Oregon, and colleagues everywhere I went, the number one topic of discussion was inflation. People are feeling it at the grocery store and at the gas pump. In Oregon, a gallon of gas is going for $5.42. People are paying more in rent, in shops, and at restaurants. Now, this is taking place at the same time Americans learned on Friday that unemployment is 3.6%, near 50-year lows, and wages have been rising steadily. Overall, the job market is the strongest it's been in multiple generations. But in terms of what our families are feeling on the ground, inflation is causing real headaches. The challenge is how to tackle it. There's no cure-all, but the focus in Congress has to be on finding real solutions to drive down costs, protect everybody's ability to get ahead, and strengthen our economy for the long run. A first example, Democrats on this committee are leading the effort to bring down the cost of prescription medicine. Americans are getting mugged with every visit to the pharmacy window, and it is long past time to get them relief. Moreover, it's also past time to cut the costs pushed off onto American consumers by these middlemen in our economy and in the prescription area. They're known as pharmaceutical benefit managers. A second example is energy and climate. Americans are spending huge amounts of money on gas and electricity. Putin's genocidal war in Ukraine is driving prices even higher. Oil and gas companies are raking in huge profits and handing out big checks to executives and announcing stock buybacks that benefit wealthy shareholders. All the while, the climate crisis grows around us. Bigger and hotter wildfires, stronger and wetter hurricanes, and longer and more punishing droughts. So it's a 1-2 punch. Americans pay more for gas, and they're paying more for the consequences of these unnatural disasters. I bet a lot of Americans would be interested in a plan that would lower their energy costs, make Putin poorer, and prevent climate catastrophes all at the same time. That's a big priority for Senate Democrats, beginning with the Clean Energy for America Act, which passed this committee. The bill, for the first time, uses a technology-neutral approach to taxes, and it would put our country on a path to cut emissions in half by 2030. One recent analysis found that our bill would save the average household $500 per year. And the legislation, for the first time in the history of the Finance Committee, stipulates that the more you reduce carbon emissions, the bigger your tax savings. There's also interest in ensuring that oil and gas companies can't game the tax code to pay next to nothing in taxes, and that's far too common today. Next, Senate Democrats want to lower the cost of renting or owning a home. That means investing in new cost-effective housing as well as cutting red tape, which, as I visited with the Secretary a little bit about before the hearing, is the approach Congress took years ago when it passed an electronic signatures law that I was one of the authors of that help buyers and sellers who are just making common transactions. The bottom line is Congress shouldn't address our economic challenges by making working families worse off. Yet, regrettably, that's what Republicans want to do. The big economic plan coming from the Republican campaign chief, Senator Rick Scott, is to phase out Medicare and Social Security in a matter of years. Now, Senator McConnell has gone to great lengths to keep the Scott plan hush-hush. When he was asked earlier this year what the Republicans' agenda would be if they took back the Senate, he said, and I quote, "That is a very good question, and I'll let you know when we take it back," unquote. Yet Senator Scott coughed up the truth, and he's standing by his plan sunsetting those bedrock American programs for seniors. You can bet that Republicans will want to hand a fresh round of tax breaks to multinational corporations as well. There's a long history of Republican monetary hawks rooting for higher unemployment, flat wages, and cuts to basic programs that help millions of families pay for child care, groceries, rent, and necessities. So I'll close with this. There are clear contrasts in the approach to solving inflation. We will have a lot to discuss this morning. I want to thank Secretary Yellen. She's got a very hectic schedule for joining us this morning. Look forward to our colleagues, and of course, we're interested in working with Senator Crapo and our colleagues on the committee. Senator Crapo.
Thank you, Mr.